Hello and welcome back to SJ Cartier Limited Convos. And today the question I'm asking is, are kids more ruder than were 20 years ago? So if you haven't watched any of my previous videos or you're not aware, I'm 36 now. So when I was growing up 20 years ago, that was when I was 16, 15, 17. And what can we do if we believe so? Because the answer to the question for me is quite an easily yes. And looking at it, because I've been looking at this a bit, like, especially now I live in Wiltshire and I'm not actually in Birmingham, I think it's highlighted a bit more how rude these kids actually are nowadays. Because when I was growing up, I'd say, yeah, we was rude when we was growing up. But then I say there was a lot of morals and respect that a lot of us rude, so-called rude kids actually carried with ourselves. So to give an example of that, we could just be standing on the road because we wasn't in our house 24/7 on our phone. So we used to go out a lot more. So if we go out a lot more, when we're going out a lot more, we are actually very helpful to the community, although a lot of us were there not working. And that could be we're standing there outside of a bookies, standing outside of a shop, standing outside the friend's house. We could be in many places, standing up in the park. We could see someone that needs help. More than one of us would be willing to help someone, whether they were younger, and a lot more if they were elderly people. And that was just like morals we carried with ourselves, always respect our elders. Now, if I was to look around now and see a young person who is quite healthy and fit and see them around elderly people or people that seem like they need help, I feel like the kids nowadays, they're not looking at how they can actually help unless it's for a social media presence to say, oh, let me record what I'm doing for TikTok, for YouTube, whatever variety of reason. It's that help isn't because that's what's installed within them. And I've seen that a few times now. I've seen how like kids like, so how to give a little examples, cause I'm going by my life and my experience, as I say. So obviously growing up in Birmingham, there's a lot of rude kids. We were rude kids growing up, but as I say, we had a bit of respect towards our elders. Then when I overstand it, like we would never like just walk past them, barge an elder person. We wouldn't just take up all the space or like impose our presence around people intentionally. It's not to say people never felt imposed because of the way we were loud, the way we had our music playing on our phones or wherever. Could be with our pity, or we could be like doing many things. And obviously the culture and the way everyone dressed seemed intimidating at that time as well to other people. So other than people's first instincts of who we actually are, I feel like no one would feel intimidated by what we was doing towards them, if that makes sense. Whereas now, like something I realised today, like kids just push past old people. And when I say old people, because I grew up in a Jamaican household where we was taught respect your elders, pushing past on the train to get past someone, and I'm not saying me in particular, I'm saying this is what I witnessed. So young kid pushing past people that are coming home from work and maybe tired, and could be their parents, could be their aunties, could they are elder to them, they have some elderly presence, and there was no respect, if you understand what I'm saying. And I'm looking at that and thinking, wow, like this is unurban children, let's say, yeah? And this isn't like in the ghettos or Birmingham, London, real ghettos. It's not like in a ghetto. This is in a rural countryside, and this is how the kids are behaving. And it's quite shocking to see for me. And when I've looked at it a few times, and as I say, I was going to do another video on the topic of one of the reasons I think this could be down to. And I don't want to be crucified, but I would like to have people's opinions. I don't want to get into arguments and debates whereby we feel we're getting aggressive towards, but I would like to have an open conversation about it. And one of the reasons I think is kids aren't actually beaten no more. So I've written down 3 things that I think are cause to why kids nowadays aren't as respectful to their elders, whether they are 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 or 50 years older than them. One of the initial reasons I say is kids aren't beaten enough nowadays. That's one of them, yeah. The second one is I don't feel kids actually have much to work for, or how to put it, kids don't actually work as hard as we had to work growing up. And what I mean by that, so whether that be in the household with housework and chores, or whether that be with actually getting a job, kids can sit at home and create jobs online now and never put themselves, like even me myself, I've been out there, I've travelled the country, but for my business I've tried to do everything from my home, and I haven't really travelled as much. Yes, I know I need to travel to socialise, but as I say, I've set up my business from within my house, from my own laptop, from the comfort of my home, and that's how easy it is for even kids then nowadays to just set these things up line. So it's actually, yes, it gets hard and work, but we all know social media is such a powerful thing now. Kids can just make money like that without having to actually work for it. So that's what I mean by work for it. And another one I've put, as we say, is social media. Social media, I feel, is a gift and a curse for us as adults and for the kids of today and the kids coming in. And in my last video I talked about AI. I want to say as well, with the AI video, it can be a positive. So this AI that I was on about was what is physically made. So whether that be a computer to cook food for you, or to take your kids to somewhere, or clean your house, or do a job that a human could do, but now there's a computer there. It's taken the control away from us, which makes us less thoughtful about what we're doing. And that's the same with like social media. I say it's like it takes so much away from us because it gives us all a little ego by being on social media. And if you're not able to admit that to yourself, then it obviously is giving you an ego because you're still on there. Let me reiterate that. If you are on social media, we all get an ego when we get a like or a comment. And if somebody we actually are interested in, whether for business, sporting, could be a celebrity, could be a friend, could be a lover, could be anybody, if they like or comment, it gives us all a little boost. So that's how much we all rely on social media, because whether we post or we don't post, we like interaction on there. That's why we're there. So we're actually looking for attention in some ways. And I say that is another thing, because some people get so much attention on social media that then gives them such an ego in the real life, which then allows them to have no respect for people around them. So I'm going to elaborate on a couple of these topics. I was going to do the beating one on a different stream, but I'll do it now on this one. So with regards beating, I feel like beating is right if it's done in the right way, and it's not if you also recognize you are an adult and this is your child. So without saying too much, I obviously received a lot of beatings growing up in a Caribbean household. And not just growing up in a Caribbean household, I grew up in a Caribbean household where I was actually misbehaving. So when you don't listen and you don't hear what the adults are talking, then if you don't hear, you must feel. So that's the household I grew up in, yeah. And I look back at it now and I say, I'm so grateful that my mother beat me and taught me lessons about how to treat people and how not to treat people, because it helps me now when I talk to people. And it's not, for me, it helps me in the most needed situations, the people without egos. Because the people with egos, I'm not really interested in. Like, we all have our own ego. I'm not trying to compete egos. But the people that don't have egos, people find it harder to talk to them and what's the word? Understand them. And when you do that, I feel like, sorry, I'm kind of lost. You have to kind of remember that sorry, let me get it back. When I was getting beaten, it taught me morals and respect of how to treat people. And because it makes me think about how other people may feel and feel from what I say or do, my actions are very thoughtful, not just for the people that we feel we have to, for also the people that people normally wouldn't feel like they have to. So for me, I'm non-judgmental of whoever you are, yeah? Whether you have money or no money, whether you washed today or you didn't wash today, whether you're a sportsman or you're completely hate sport altogether, whether you read comics, whether you don't like comics, whether you dress in designer clothes, whether you go to Primark, whether you shop in a charity shop. It makes no difference to me in the personality in who you are and how I should treat you. And that's all come from me. Yes, I learnt a lot from the roles, but that's all come to my mum making me know when I've done something wrong towards anyone else, I'm getting beatings because it's showing me that, you know what, you shouldn't have spoke to that person in that way. You shouldn't have left that mess in somebody's house. So little morals, like, I'll give you an overstanding in that as well. So I don't know if my partner can also confirm this, because, and anybody that knows me would be able to confirm this with me. If you ever have seen me come into your household, there are two things that I will guarantee that I do. One of them, straight away, is take my trainers off. Yeah? When I first come in the house. Yeah? Whoever's house it is, whether your house is to wear trainers or not, whether you're walking around in your house with your trainers, my instinct for me is to take my trainers off at the front door. Yeah. The second thing is, which are things that, as I say, if I didn't do, my mum would tell me about it and I'd get a punishment for it, is if you use people's things when you come in people's house, you wash those things up. Did I do that when I first come to you?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
So, these are things that my mother taught me how to be. And sometimes talking to a child who's hard of hearing and thinks we know it all doesn't always get through. And that's not to say my mum hasn't got a strong, stern voice, and that's not to say I don't respect any word my mother has ever told me, and that's not to say I've ever given my mum any disrespect in any way, verbally, physically, in any way, yeah? So I've never raised my voice at my mother. I've never swore around my mother. Probably in the last couple of years, I feel like I may have slipped out in conversations where a slight swear word may have come out, yeah, and I've got cussed for it and I have to lie about it. But that's now me at 34, 35, 36, like in the last 2 years. Like, in those first 30 odd years, my mum has never heard me swear once. Yeah? Yeah? So these are morals and respect that I hold for my mother that she has taught me of how to treat people when you're in their house, when you're in their property, or whether you're talking to them. Like when it's someone elderly, respect them. If they're not if adults are talking, you don't need to talk. Yeah? And these are like schoolings and teachings that my mother had taught to me. Now, when it comes to this day and age, there's a lot of parents out there that will talk about, oh, I'd go to jail if I put my hand on my child. Even the children would think, if you put my hands on me, I'll call the police or call Childline, and they really mean it. Like, that is a problem. Because if you as a parent are not able to beat your child and teach your child about manners, then that means in the long run, they ain't learnt no manners, and they will carry that with themselves throughout life. They will think they can't be touched or bothered because of anything. And if you understand, that's with kids that get beaten and don't get beaten. If we think about it in the way of kids that have everything, and if they ask for it, parents just give them, do they grow up with morals as much as the child that knows they have to go and do a chore to get what they need to do? Because that, for me, is the same as beating. And that's where it comes to understanding why you're beating. You can't abuse your child. Now, that's different. Yeah? Abuse and beating your child physically, mentally, and talking to them in a way, no. But if you're trying to school and teach them from right from wrong, and the words aren't working at this moment in time, why should you not be able to beat your child? Because also, on the flip side, yeah, if you think of it, if you don't beat your, or have the rights, because you might not have to beat your child may be lovely and listen to you when you talk, but not every child listens, yeah? And this is what I'm looking at, the percentage of the children that don't listen get beaten now, how many, compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There was a lot more kids getting beaten. I can promise you that. Yeah? Because there was no law for starters. There's a law now that you can't beat your child. Yeah? There's the kids have a right to call child lines and police on you if you put your hands on them. Yeah? But flip side, and this is what we want, because stay with me with I want to call them podcasts, but they're not getting there yet, but you might as well call it a podcast, but stay with me with it. So think about it, yeah? If you don't beat your child and your child goes and does bad, who's gonna beat them out there now? Would you rather beat your child to stop them from getting beaten up on road by some random crazy person, beat up on road by the police because they've committed a crime and now they've got mouth, they're not listening, and they think nobody can touch them, even the police? Yeah? There's a lot of things that we can look at and say, you know what? This rude child going out there. So I'll give you an example. If a child isn't showing no respect to their elders in their household, yeah, what makes you think if they don't respect their mother or their father, they're going to respect any other elder out there? Because we all know if your mother and father does nothing wrong, that's who you should feel the most closest to before your kids. Yeah? That's just how we are set in our bodies. Yeah? So we may hate our mother and hate our father, but we hear something wrong, our heart will feel it whether we hate them or not. Yeah? That's our mother, that's our father. That's the same with a child. You could have disowned your child, but you hear a problem about your child and you want to run to them. Look at Chris Eubank and Chris Eubank Sr. Yeah? He said he's disappointed in his child. He disowned him. He wasn't talking to him. He told him, what's going on here is a farce and I don't respect respect it. But then it come to that day and he came there with his son and stood side by side with him and kissed him in the ring, held his hand, and yeah. That's because he was trying to teach him something, but he's going to still stand by his side either way. Yeah? So you see, like, that respect he even had for his dad, who we know his dad could have beat him and all sorts. And you know Chris Eubank seems very strict. Yeah? He seems a strict dad to have. Yeah? So if we understand that and look at the respect that his son had for him there in that ring, just that emotion for him, that's because of respect. And that's not because he beat him, that's because he was teaching him respect. The same way I've been taught respect. Yeah. So one of the big problems, I think, is, as I say, it's not the be all and end all of it, but it's a big point to it. I think kids nowadays don't get enough beatings, and if they did get enough beatings for when they are doing wrong things at the right times, then they would learn how to have respect when they're just walking out on a normal day and a normal life. Yeah. The second thing I said is they don't have to work as much in the house or out of doors. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, when I was growing up, I wasn't one of the only kids that had chores to do. Yeah. Now, that's on my street. Yeah. I know a couple kids had chores to do. Now, even in our household, she doesn't get no chores, does she? We do it all. We do it all. Yeah. But then I was to think, how many kids on this street actually have chores? And this is a presumption that we don't know. I may actually do a little randomly. I don't even know if I want to do it on our street, but I may want to do that and actually do a little quiz like parents, and ask them, do your kids have to do any chores for pocket money to get what they need? Or do they just get what they're given? And do we do it all for them? And did you have to be like that? So everybody watching now who's above 30, 35, like, did you have chores growing up? And the chores you had to do, are they the same as your children now, or your nephews and nieces? Because these are the things that also teach us how to be adults and respect what our adults do for us, our parents. It also teaches us skills and shows us life ain't easy. Yeah? Which is the same as getting a job now. Not every, even to apply for a job. So for the last 18 months looking for a job, yeah, only way you can look for a job is online. Online. So before, kids would have to, even me, I've had my times where I've got to dress smart, got my CVs, I'm having to go into shops and businesses and hand my CV, have a conversation with the people in there, see if I'm able to get an interview or if there's any jobs available. There was some kind of relationship which made me then respect whoever this manager was or whoever this person was. Now there's managers online that are like 15, 17, 18, 19, managing people. Is that how easy it is for them to just go online? Like, you could go on TikTok, do a dance. Suddenly now someone wants to give you money, and all you've got to do is sit in your house now. And now it's not the thing that, what you have to understand is, it's not the fact that it's easy for them to make money and easy for me even, because as I say, this is how I've set up my business. I've had to do online auctions to start off with. I had to do all this online shopping, and yes, I travel to car boots. Yes, I travel to charity shops. Yes, I travel to auctions. But even still, a lot of it, I do buy my products via online sources. Yeah. So don't misunderstand the rewards of it. It's the understanding of it. of the fact that they're able to do that now means they can do that from the comfort of their own, gain what they feel is popularity, grow a certain aura about themselves, which then they carry when they go out onto the door, out of the doors. And what I mean by that is, you may find, like, maybe it's where I come from, as I come from the ghetto. So as I come from the ghetto, I understand certain people have to respect, certain people don't have to respect, certain people just, you know what I'm trying to say? We all know our place in society around whoever we're around, yeah. We know who we can intimidate, we know who we can't, yeah. But nowadays, it seems like everybody feels like they can intimidate everybody. And it's not to say me personally, these are things that I just see. Like how people stand and how they want to. And I'm looking at this person thinking, you're a good boy. That's not even you. You've probably never had a fight in your life, but something has made you feel like that. And maybe it's the online popularity. The online popularity making you feel you are somebody special. And because you didn't have to do much to get it, you don't even respect what you've got and understand it. It's going over your head and it's getting to your head and it's making it grow. Because for me, I've got a big head. I've got the biggest, probably. No, but you know what I mean? Like, in myself, I feel like I've got one of the biggest heads. But I think because of my mother's teaching me and the way she's raised me, I don't feel like I carry it like that. Like, I just feel it, it's within me, but I don't want to show it, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So what I mean is, I feel comfortable wherever I go, yeah? Even if I'm nervous and a bit wary, I feel comfortable. I'm not trying to put on a show when I'm there, I'm just being me, but I'm comfortable. There's a lot of people putting on a show like they're comfortable, but in fact they're not that comfortable. And they're doing that because something has come to them so easy. They haven't had to work for it. And because they haven't been taught manners, because they have to do these chores because they have to do it. Yeah? So, give you examples of my chores to make you understand. Sundays come, I had to iron my shirts and trousers and blazer, yeah? To go to school, yeah? That was my Sunday, yeah? When it comes to dinner, yeah? I had to wash up, yeah? When it come to gardening, we was in the garden, yeah? Couldn't just leave Dad out in the garden. It was us out in the garden, me and my brother as well, yeah? When it come to going shop, Mum and Dad have been at work, we have to go shop, yeah? We have to go shop, yeah? Get sent shop. It's quite funny to say, like, the only people that can send you shop was Mum and Dad and now partner and kids in it. But you know what I mean? Before that, it's recognising go shop. Yeah? There's what else? Cleaning up. So when it comes to certain things as well, don't get it twisted. Washing your clothes, even washing your clothes was a chore for men to do. Yeah? Because sometimes, because my mum's Jamaican as well, there's certain things that you can't wash in the washing machine. Certain things have to be washed in the bath, so we're told. It's so we was raised. Yeah? So sometimes some of these things have to get soaked in the bath and we have to wash in the bath. Yeah? Have to get soaked so the colours don't get washed. Yeah? Sometimes it may have been also because of the money was tight. Yeah? But sometimes there's certain things, like I remember, they weren't allowed to go in the washing machine. Yeah? Because this is how we wash them. You're going to cause some damage to the clothes. We spent money upon this. Yeah? You just make it soak in the bath. You rinse it, do your thing, put the powder in there and hang it out. Yeah? Ironing your clothes. There's loads of chores I'm trying to think of, like just loads of things we had to do. The only thing that I didn't have to do was cook. Yeah? The only thing in the house I didn't have to do was cook. Yeah? So that was my chores. And even when because this isn't just for everybody out there. As I say, I talk for ourselves as well. You get it? Like, so even for us, like, we need to give her more chores because it's like, although yes, she does what she says when we ask, but as a routine to know this is what you've got to do. It just teaches little things, and I think most kids don't have chores right now unless they have a newborn and now they're having to do extra chores. That's the only time I could think that parents may say, you know what, the other kid has to step up. Do you get it? Yeah. Because as a newborn, I'm looking after the baby. You have to go and do the washing. Yeah. You have to. But once I get to an age where the kids are just, why have they not got chores? Why are they just sitting at home on their phone? Because it's not teaching them nothing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And this all adds to why we have rude kids now, in my opinion. Could tell me if I'm wrong, yeah? The other one, as I said, it leads into off the home, how easy it is to get work. Online is the ego, as I say. And egos, as we know, ego don't mean nothing in the real world, yeah? We all could think we're as strong as bloody Hercules, for example. I don't know, fictional character, but yes, Hercules, yeah? But we never know until you put it to the test, yeah? So, egos online may think you're somebody online. And I say this to a lot of people that are like trolls and just have fake accounts, whether we're on Whatnot or Instagram or wherever. Not really into your chattings. Like, I'll have a little debate, and if you're saying something that seems like you're going against my character, then I'm going to obviously defend my character. But if it come into an argument where you're talking arms and drums, I'm not even believing you because you're chatting shit. You know where I am. If not, here's my number, call me. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm not into the arguing online, because you've got an ego online that you're trying to impress, whereas I'm not trying to argue. And that's because you grew up on social media. I ain't grown up on social media. I grew up in a real life, yeah? Where you can tell a man to suck his mum online and nothing happens. But in my life, you tell a man to suck your mum right now, something is happening. Yeah? Right now. Yeah? It's called on-site, not again. Yeah? So, overstanding that, like, you realise they've got an ego online. Even me, like, I could have an ego online because I can't be asked to chat, so I just say whatever. But I'm keeping it real. If I see you and you carry that same impression, this is how we're going to go down. I'm not trying to go down that route, but that's because you're on social media and gained an ego from, say, social media. Whereas me, I just had an ego in myself anyway. From a young age, I've always thought I was smart, strong, galley, so whatever, I thought I was everything. Whether I show it immediately today or not, I just feel it inside. You get it? So, that social media presence also has, I think, caused a problem for the kids of today, because they build egos, they get followers, they get fans, they make a little bit of money, and that then carries into the normal life with real everyday people who ain't into the games, which then could cause problems for them. Yeah, we've seen how many social media influencers have a problem now because of what they were saying on social media. Yeah, so these are things I think are an attribute to why kids nowadays are just so much ruder than we were. And even in our time, the kids would say the same. Our parents would say we was much ruder. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this little podcast one today. And I'm just ranting, but I hope you hear what I'm saying, and maybe we can help and aid with the kids of today. Like as I say, we have to set ourselves a lot of targets now as well to like say, yeah, more chores for her, to instead of just buying you things for nothing.
Yeah.
You have to do something to get something. And as she said today, funnily enough though, one of her friend's parents says, "Oh, she's so lovely, and she's glad the other one went because you're so lovely when you come here."
Yeah.
Whatever he's doing,
Yeah.
it's not to say you can't become a good, respectful child just because you don't do chores. But it's understanding why we have so many disrespectful children now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what can we do as all, because we are the parents, to make things better for everyone. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining me today with SJ Cartier Limited Convos, and have a good day.